going 4.
Oh, yeah, I can see Ant. Ant's just about ready. Oh, what's Chris doing? Yeah, he's there as well. Hang on a minute. I don't think he should be doing that. Oh, hang on a minute. Yeah, hello, everyone. Hey, hi. Oh, Fox, put that away, behave yourself.
What? Oh, sorry, it's a nice centre page spread. I couldn't resist. Hey, everyone.
Hi, good evening, everybody. It's a bit windy here. I'm having to shout above the storm that's blowing around outside. Everything's blowing around outside. The shed's blown away. It's like
have you had cows going past, Ted, and
yeah,
grain silos and things?
A few cows gone past. Yeah, the cat's just grabbing onto the wall as tight as it can, and the chickens just give up. I don't know where the chicken's gone. Right.
I think Barrow probably by now.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this wild and windy night. We're going to be on air as long as we can. Our utilities providers have sent out sort of a flash message around the Cumbria area that we could lose the internet signal if we disappear. I'm afraid it's not my fault tonight. It's the weather. We can blame the weather. Yeah, I got sent home from work because it's too windy. Over the weekend, it was too wet. There was too much water to sail the boat. So I got sent home today because it was too windy. So here we are. We'll keep going as long as we can. So welcome to the eModels live stream with me, Ted, and him down there.
Hello. We haven't had really any wind at all today. We've had a little couple of blusters. That's been about it. Although I did go out this morning to the shops and everything was orange. I walked outside and I thought, am I wearing yellow tinted glasses? Because I used to wear yellow tinted glasses. And I'm like, no. So I looked up and the sun was like blood orange. I'm like, oh, that's really weird. Yeah. It was all the sand from the Sahara that the hurricane had picked up. Just a quick hello to any viewers from Northern Ireland or Republic of Ireland. Stay safe, dudes, because they're getting the brunt of it today. So
yeah, we're thinking about you guys. Obviously, if you can't be with us tonight because you're outside tying things down and trying to keep the roof on, if you catch up with us later on, we've been thinking of you and hope you stay safe.
Yep, stay safe. Don't do anything foolish. Don't go out if you don't need to go out. Although I think it's probably passed by now anyway. So Chris has already noticed that we've both got our jackets on tonight. It's jacket night tonight because it's wet and wild. For all your model making needs.
Yeah.
Make something awesome.
Yeah, I would turn around and show you the back, but last time we did that, I pulled all the cables out of everything.
Yeah, don't do that, Ted. Yeah. That's like you pressing buttons.
Yeah. Right. Well, we got to who's in tonight. Well, I certainly see that Ant's in and Chris are in. They're your moderators for this evening so far. If you have any problems, give them a shout out and see what they can do. If anybody's being a bit naughty tonight, they could sort them out for you. Please send your questions in to ted@emodels.co.uk, or you can put them in chat as well in capital letters. Not bold, because you can't do bold. Put them in capitals.
Yeah, put them in big fat capitals, please, so we can see them a mile away.
Yeah, we'll try, but we still lose them. Yeah, you do type your questions in the chat, and we still lose them. Right. So who's in tonight? I was first in, obviously. Paul Lewis was following me. Then Alex and David, Phil Lewis, Dave Moores, Scott Sutherland from the Orkneys. Is it wild in the Orkneys tonight, Scott?
Hang on, wait, Ted. Where's he from?
Orkney, not Orkneys. Wild in Orkney tonight.
I feel compelled to pull you up.
Yeah, imagine they're used to the wind up there. That's why they all got flat noses. Because when the wind stops blowing, they fall over.
Yes. I said the other day on something, I was amazed to find out, and you won't know about this, Ted, but porgs in the new Star Wars movie are based on puffins. Just thought I'd spread that love. Carry on.
Right. Scott, Kenneth, Matthew Drake. Matthew says, what's everybody got on the bench at the moment? He's working on a 148 Sherman.
Sherman.
What have you got on your bench?
You can see what's on my bench.
Well, there's no room for anything else, is there?
Yes, I have to apologise. Normally before a live stream, I will actually make an attempt to clean up and tidy up and make everything look slightly profesh. Unfortunately, I'm in the middle of decaling, so it's just carnage everywhere. But I've done most of the pod for the Eagle. There's still some decals to go on, but it's mostly done now. So that's what I was doing for the last 3 or 4 days. All the bits on the Eagle. I've still got loads of decals to go. It's taking me forever. So many decals. Yeah. And they're really nice cartograph ones, so you have to go really slowly. That's why it's taken me a while.
Yeah, take your time with them. It'll be nice at the end. What have I got on my bench? Well, I've got this. It's actually a bit of a test pig. Remember, this is an old model of my son's, and it's a bit dusty and a bit muddy because Professor Tedward McSkipperton has been doing an eModels tutorial on. I'll show you. He's doing an eModels eModels tutorial on mud. So we're going to get dirty, and we're going to slap it on.
Dirty, filthy, dirty.
And we're going to get filthy dirty and slap it on. Yeah, so look out for that in the near future.
Everybody make sure to download this video later and snip that bit out of Ted, please, to use it on forums. Thank you.
Right, so that's what I'm doing. That's what's on my bench at the moment, as well as the submarine. The submarine's coming on as well. Yeah. I'm doing sort of bits at a time, sort of getting on with it.
TK's in, by the way. Hey, TK.
Yeah, I do apologise.
Moderator for the evening.
For hearing me because of the winds rattling against the workshop door here. Oh, right. Where else are we? What are we up to? Gross is doing the 144 Pole X-Wing. Is that right? Is that such a thing as a Poe X-Wing?
Yeah, Poe Dameron is a character. The X-Wing is his vehicle.
Right.
Beyond your time, Ted.
Yeah. And there's just a general chat of things going on in there at the moment. Sergeant Bones, Matthew Drake, Paul Stewart, Road Hobby Corner. Good evening, Smooth. Yeah, Smooth's in there. Yep. I hope you answered your questions successfully last week for you, Smooth, and you've gone out and hope that tartan paint is on order.
Yes, they ordered a load of polka dot paint by mistake, so they had to send it back.
Yeah, it might take a little bit to get out to you, but it will get out.
Unfortunately, they had to order to get the tartan paint. They also had to order 3.5 gallons of chintz paint. So God knows what they're going to do with that.
Yeah.
Anybody making a dollhouse? No.
Yeah.
Wayne Haywood even is making a 1/12 C3PO. That's another Star Wars, Ted.
Yeah. Oh, right. I know that, you see. I know CP3 or
CP3.
It's the same guy, but just a different format.
It's the dyslexic version. CP3O.
Right. TK's got a 148 Tan Models RF 884F. That's on his bench. Where's the t-shirt? Says Shaman. Where's the t-shirt? Right. Let's see. We do have some emails that have come in as well. Sorry, just clearing up. So there's in my phone. Sure.
So what have you been up to, Tedward? I'll ask you a question this week instead.
Yeah. Well, what have I been up to? Well, I've had. Can you not? Does anybody notice anything different?
You've washed your hair?
Yeah, the hair's it's windswept. Yeah, I've had a clean up in the workshop because I came in here and fell over that huge submarine box. So I thought that's got to go. And I cleaned it all. I cut it all up. And did you? If anybody else has the submarine box, when you cut it up.
Oh God, careful under there, Ted. Don't start unplugging things.
When you cut it up and you open the box, you find these on the end panels. There's a picture of some vegetables and a picture of some fluffy toys. Now, I probably think it's something to do with colour alignment and colour sort of...
like test prints and things, calibration marks.
They're pretty cute. Yeah, they have a huge 5 foot box of a U-boat with pretty pictures on the end. Now, I thought it was pretty cute. I don't know whether it was...
Robert Black says his has those as well. Very strange.
Yeah.
Maybe, I mean, normally you have little registration marks to make sure it's lined up. I've never heard of using old photographs.
Yeah.
Seems like fun, though.
Yeah, quite fun. I didn't know it was a sort of bit of a joke from Trumpeter. I'll have to have a look on all the other boxes that I've got.
Maybe what you should do is take a photograph of one of those pictures, then print it out really small and stick it on the wall of the U-boat like a photograph.
Could be an idea. Yeah.
There's an Easter egg within an Easter egg. A meta egg.
Smooth says, I've got a white t-shirt on. I'm going for the Top Gun look. Yes, cool.
No, he's been washing the windows again. He's been doing his window washing rounds.
It's my vest. Yeah. That's all I've got on. Just this and a vest.
Oh, stop the stream. Stop the stream. People are fainting and swooning. It's not right.
Yeah, I'm really having trouble hearing you, Fox. Not because of you, it's because of the winds blowing. I might have to put the earbuds in. Right.
I'll talk really, really quietly now, just to confuse you completely.
Yeah. Right. Where were we? Right. What's everybody else been up to this week?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what I've been doing. That and a bit of videoing, sort of getting ready for videos.
Like I said, I've been doing the decals on my Eagle, which is going very, very slowly, but it's getting there.
And yeah, we're also getting prepared for Telford. If anybody's going to Telford, anybody in here that's going to Telford in a few weeks' time, it's next. How many weeks? About 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
When is it? The 14th or something, or the 16th, or I can't remember now.
Yeah, it's the Remembrance Weekend here in the UK. So if you
I'm hoping to go on the Sunday.
Right, Gareth Redfern made his first eModels order yesterday. What did you order, Gareth? Anything interesting? Let us know. But it'll be shipped out to you ASAP.
I actually got ordered some stuff on Friday, and it turned up Saturday morning.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that'll be Gavin out on his bike again.
Yep. Buying that butcher's bike was the best investment Pete may ever made.
Road Hobby Corner said he's building his Mark V from Tacom. I quite fancy building that. I think I might have a look at that for the next model. Do something a bit smaller, quicker to build. Get it on and get it for your viewing pleasure.
Carl from eModels says he'll be there for both days at Telford.
Yep.
Roadie Hobby Corner says 11th to 12th of November. Phil Lewis will be there.
That's what it is. Yep. Sunday I'll be there. I was planning to come for the whole weekend, but a bit of a change of plan. I'm now working on the Saturday, so I'll just be nipping down for the Sunday and see you all.
Question for you, Ted. I think this one, ideally. Shadowland scale models. How do you guys go about painting wood?
I've
only painted wood once and it wasn't brilliant, so I can't really give you an answer on that one.
Yeah, I think you mean painting wood as in painting plastic to look like wood, or painting wood?
Answer both. It gives us 10 minutes.
Dave Barker says that I'll be taking off in a minute. Yeah, the shed's rocking a bit. How about going painting wood? There is actually a wood set from AK Interactive. There's a wood painting set. Well, what you can do, I have a set from MIG for painting tools. And in here,
he says plastic to look like wood.
Plastic tools like wood. Yeah, well, this is a kit that I used for the on the Panzer, and in there it's got three colors: new wood, light wood, and old wood, and it also has a Bakelite, which you use as a base. Now, the way I found it was put the Bakelite on, and then choose which sort of shade of wood that you want to paint.
He says tool handles, truck decks, etc.
Yeah, that's what I use for this, and it is quite good. It actually, for the color of, use the color of wood for tool handles, draw the wood grain on it to make the shadows. And yeah, that's about it really. It's just a matter of blending it in. Use a wet palette and blend your wood colors together so you get that difference in texture. On 135, my model was 1/16, where it was big enough to get a wood grain on, so with a fine brush you could paint the wood grain and then just blended it in, and then I just weathered it up a bit. There is all sorts of techniques and things out there to do it in different ways. You can get sort of rotting wood, green wood, as though it's been sort of wet, and you see it on the bottom of fences in gardens when the rain splashes up. You can take those sort of handles.
Green washes are quite good for getting that kind of algae moss look.
I've got some of that as well.
I tend to dry brush around raised parts as well with a lighter brown colour, just to get that kind of faded effect.
Yeah, I can't find it now. Never find anything I want to. Yeah, use lots of your weathering sort of filters as well for wood. It gives you lots of different textures. you'll find as you go to the hardware store, you'll find that all sort of axes and handles, things like that, are all different colours, from dark sort of rosewood to light sort of pines and things like that. So it's just a matter of mix up your own paints to suit what you need. I'm just trying to find the green streaks. No, I can't find it. It's in here somewhere. I'll find it. Find it tonight when everybody's got. No, that's what it. Yeah, buy a few different colours of paints.
You've got him hunting now. You've got him hunting all the drawers now.
Yeah, you always get me rooting in the drawers. But yeah, tool colours from MIG. It's got all the colours that you want in one set, and your aluminium and your metals for your spades and axe heads, things like that. Quite a economical way of buying your paints, and they're always in the box then, so you're not rooting through drawers trying to look for them.
Ted likes rooting through drawers.
Yeah. It's an old
ties in with his flesh tones thing. It's
rooting through drawers and flesh tones is a hobby.
Yeah. Paul Davey asks, question: best detail brushes make buy them singly or as a set? I would say, if I can find one, the absolute best. Winsor & Newton Series 7. You can't beat them. They're absolutely best, but they're not cheap. But if you don't get one of those, the Army Painter brushes, some of their fine detail ones are really, really good. But if you can get a Winsor & Newton Series 7,
yep.
I'm just going to sit here and stroke it for a while. I'm not going to do that, actually, because it's weird. The Winsor & Newton Series 7 are quite well known, especially in miniature painters. They love them.
Sorry, I'm just rattling paper here.
Raging Basis says, I found that Army Painter do some great detail brushes. Yes, they're the other good ones. All in stock now, but they're very good, the Army Painter ones. What else have we got?
I'm just trying to catch you with a chat here. It's moving quickly.
Shaman Adrian says, I'm looking to purchase a new airbrush. What do you recommend, cheap or expensive? I would personally say
get as best you can afford, really.
Yeah. Don't go super cheap off eBay, because all you'll do is get a cheap one that will either be terrible and will put you off airbrushing forever, or you'll get a cheap one that's terrible and you'll be stressed with it and you'll end up buying the more expensive one anyway.
Yeah.
So start with, your mid-range brushes. I would say, give the guys at eModels a ring and say, here's my budget. I need an airbrush and a compressor. What can you recommend? And they'll sort you out. They won't try and sell you the most expensive kit. If you're just starting out, they'll come up with something for you that's a good beginner set. So you don't want to go too cheap, because all you end up doing is either being put off or buying more expensive anyway. Things like Badger, Iwata, they do some good sort of mid-range brushes. Just make sure it's gravity fed, so the cup's on the top. Dual action, so you can have separate control of air and paint. And that's really the two things you need to look for: gravity fed and dual action. Whether you have a trigger brush like this, which is stuck and needs cleaning, or you have a button one, that's personal preference. I find these easier to use for longer periods. I need to clean that. Look, it sticks. Watch. Yeah, that needs cleaning. Oh yeah.
And what you need to clean?
Naughty brush. What are you doing, Ted?
I'm just looking for the cleaning stuff. Oh, there it is, over there. Yeah, what you need to clean it, when you buy your airbrush, back in a moment.
He's going away. He's going away. He's leaving me in the spotlight.
Yeah, when you buy your airbrush, also for a few quid more, you can buy some cleaning stuff. Buy some mixture of bristle brushes. You can then nip to the chemist and buy some interdental brushes.
Oh, they're brilliant, interdental brushes. I got myself some of the Harder and Steenbeck airbrush cleaning brushes a couple of weeks ago from the guys at eModels, and they're great, because I had the Tamiya set, but one of them broke. So I got the Harder and Steenbeck one. It's like, whoa, get in there with your brush. It's great. Cleans it out dead easy.
And as you saw that Fox's airbrush was a bit sticky, get some lube.
Yeah, it's actually not that. I'll tell you what it is that sticks on mine. It's behind the trigger, inside there, the interior parts and the barrel and stuff. It just gets gunked up, so when I pull it back, So I just need to get in there with some isopropyl alcohol or some airbrush cleaner and just give it a good scrubbage. I've not figured out or had the nerve to actually take this apart and take the trigger system out yet, so I just clean it as best I can, and it works.
That's the thing, you can get some internet airbrush cleaner as well from eModels. That's a trap I fell into, actually. I went out, bought my airbrush, I then got it home, was already at paint, painted everything, and then I realised I didn't have anything to clean it with. So it was a matter of persevering and cleaning it up best I could. Letting everything go dry. So don't forget, when you buy your airbrush, get the best you can afford. As Fox says, speak to the guys at eModels and they'll advise you on what they've got, what's the best price. And spend a couple of quid more and get yourself some cleaning stuff so that you can enjoy your first airbrushing session and then just clean up.
I mean, a lot of people will say just go and buy a cheapy Chinese knockoff from eBay. And there are some advantages to that. But 90% of the time, they'll have issues. They're cheap knockoffs. They're not going to be very good quality. It might be fine for someone who knows what they're doing and they can use it as a rough brush or something. But for someone who's starting out, I always say, and I've said this several times on the show, the learning curve for airbrushing is like that. It's very steep, but it doesn't take very long. So there's a lot to learn, but you learn it really quick and then you're straight away. So it's easy to get your confidence knocked straight away and just give up. And if you get a cheap airbrush and it's not a very good one, you'll be there trying to spray it. It'll be splattering, it'll be blocking, it won't look very good, and you'll be like, I can't do this. So it's not worth the hassle going super cheap.
Yeah, that's it. If you get, people find it difficult enough to get to the hang of airbrushing, but if you start out with not too good of stuff, it's going to put you off straight away, and you'll probably never come back to it.
It's like trying to learn how to ride a thoroughbred racehorse by starting with a donkey. You're not going to be a very good jockey if you learn to ride a racehorse by learning on a donkey, and you'll get frustrated and you give up. So you might as well start on something mid-range. Like I say, the guys at eModels, they won't try and rip you off and say you need a harder and Steenbeck this with that and this. They'll start you off based on your budget on something good. And there's a second question from James Glenn that ties into this. He says, what is your opinion on the Sparmax line of airbrushes? They're absolutely fine. They're made at the same factory as Iwata. A lot of them use the same parts and toolings as the Iwata brushes. And there's an agreement between Sparmax and Iwata that they share the factories. So, yeah, they're fine. They're really good.
I've got the Sparmax compressor as well, the one with the tank. It comes in a square case. Brilliant.
I've gone through a few Sparmax airbrushes, not because they don't last long, but because when I was first starting out, I was the bringer of death to airbrushes. I am become death. I'd use them for a week and then break something, so I went through them quite a lot. But they're fine. They're really good.
Yeah, I noticed as well, since eModels have started stocking airbrushes, they also are now stocking the spares for them as well. So if you do break or bend anything, they can sort you out and keep you up and get you up and running again. I'm
not sure what the conversation was, but Dave Wise, the Rum's Gone Barker, says to Arif, who asked a question earlier, always remember, everything is Fox's fault now. You're one of us. It's like it's the first rule of Fight Hut.
Right.
So whatever he's doing, it's probably my fault. And Chris agrees, it's always my fault.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that's it. Paul Stewart said he uses a Sparmax and he said it's decent. Yeah, so so that answers the question.
Yeah. Reef, an extra question actually. Reef says, which manufacturer should I order from as a noob? Again, stick to the known brands, and you're really looking at Sparmax is the sort of the budget end of the range. Badger, who can get in at the budget end of the range. Iwata work from the medium budget end of the range up. And then you've got people like Pash and Harder and Steenbeck. They're more expensive. They're more the semi-professional or a bit more expensive, all the way up to full professional brushes. So if you're just starting out, you might not want to go all the way to a Harder and Steenbeck or a Pash. If you can afford it, do, because they are the best. They are fantastic. But if you work into a budget, you don't want to spend a lot of money. Start with your Badgers, your Iwatas, and your Sparmaxes, and you should be safe.
Robert asks, what's the best pressure for the first coat to break the film on the plastic?
Hang on, what was the question again? Sorry.
What's the best pressure for the first coat? I take it means what's the best pressure for a primer to break the film on the plastic? What primer are you using, Robert? I normally use the Ultimate primers or the MIG One Shot now. They're both the same product. and there is a way of get them on a thin coat in about 21 psi.
Yeah, the pressure you spray at 100% depends on how thick the paint or stuff you're putting through the airbrush is. So if you're spraying a gloss varnish that's really thin or an enamel paint, you can drop down to 12 to 15 psi. If you're spraying a Tamiya paint, say, that you've thinned down, you might go to, say, 15 to 18 or 19 psi. If you're spraying a primer, then you typically want that's thicker, so you want to be working somewhere between like 20 to 23, 24 psi. It does depend 100% on your airbrush, on your compressor, and how long your hose is. So experiment. It varies from setup to setup, and it depends how big your nozzle is. If you've got a little 0.35 nozzle or a big 5mm nozzle, they might require different pressures, but primers generally 20 psi plus, 20 to 25.
Yeah, Ultimate actually say on their instructions on the back of their primer, use a 0.4 needle or larger, and go to 20 to 30 psi.
Yeah, it does actually work on a 0.35 because I did it through my water, and it's fine on. I saw Paul from UMP saying the other day that you can probably go from about 0.3, I think, or 0.35. 0.35 upwards is probably your best bet.
Yeah.
The good thing with the UMP primer, though, some primers you have to do a mist coat first and then thicker coats. The UMP, you can just do what Ted does and
slap it on. Yes.
See how we work as a team. It's great, isn't it? The UMP primer, you can just I swear you could dip your piece in the primer and let it dry and it will be just smooth as a baby's butt. It's really forgiving. So you can just spray that on quite heavy. Not so heavy it runs, but you can just go for it and just spray it on and it will self-level beautifully. So about 20-25 psi, depending on your airbrush and compressor.
Yeah.
For primer.
But
the general rule of thumb, the thinner the liquid, the lower the pressure.
Yeah, I've just pressed the little blue down arrow.
Oh God, you pressed a button. What have you pressed?
I've just pressed the little blue down arrow button on the chat, and the whole chat's gone all the way at the top.
So Ted, don't press things.
Right, yeah.
Shaman Adrian says, I've been airbrushing with one from eBay, but the trigger gives me finger cramp. Is it a trigger like that, or is it a trigger like a button? If you're getting cramps using a button brush, try a trigger brush, because you can use your middle finger as the trigger, like that. I know it doesn't stick like that. Forgive the sticky. I hold it like this, so I have that finger on the cup. I have this finger on the trigger, and I can grip it. I can spray for 2 or 3 hours, non-stop. If I try and use a button brush, I have to stop after 20 minutes because my hand cramps up. The other advantage of doing that with your finger there is you can go, oh, I'm dribbling paint. I've not put the lid on properly because it goes down your finger. I do that all the time. Yeah, if you're having a problem with the button, try a trigger. There are less brushes that have triggers. This is the Neo for Iwata. There are less that have triggers, and they can be a little bit more expensive. But if you have any kind of hand issues or any mobility issues in your hand, you might find a trigger is a lot better. I will not go back to a button now because I can't. I could spray. When I primed the Eagle, it took me about 4.5 hours. No problem at all with the trigger.
Yeah, it's just down to what you're used to. I've got the harvest. That's what he means by the trigger on the top.
Yep. I just can't use those. Yeah. Not for more than half an hour.
Just whatever suits yourself. Yeah.
So. Vincent, we're on an airbrush kick tonight. Vincent says H&S, Harder and Steenbeck has starter models as well now. Cool. Didn't realize that. David Rath asks, what are good paints to use for airbrushing and their differences? So that'll be tonight's show sorted out then. No more questions, please.
Airbrush paints.
Yes.
If you can get paints that are specifically made for airbrushes, it's one less thing to think about, especially if you're starting. You can just put the paint into your paint cup and away you go. Some people tend to thin them down. Some people do, some people don't. I never have. It's, as I say, it's just one less thing to think about because you can work then on your pressures, your distances, and everything else, and where you can go. You can be up and running in no time.
I mean, some of the good brands, if you want pre-mixed airbrush paints, you've got like Vallejo Air, Model Air, theoretically pre-mixed for airbrush. Some of them might need a little bit of thinning, but most of them are fine. A lot of the ammo paints don't really need a lot of thinner. Some of them do, but not much. Maybe a few drops. There's also Vallejo Game Color, which some of them are thin enough, and some of them just need a little bit of thinner. Most paints need a little bit of thinner. I say apart from Vallejo Air. But don't be afraid of thinning. There's a lot of people that say a lot of nonsense about how to thin paints and how much thinner should I put in with the paint. Forget all the maths and the ratios and the complex equations. Make your paint this consistency of skimmed milk. That's it. Make it as thick as skim milk, so when you pick it up, it just drips off. That's the trick. Don't worry about is it 50-50, 60-40, 30-70. Just and ideally don't mix with water because it never turns out best. Use alcohols or thinners for the best.
One thing you did mention there, the MIG paints are good for airbrushing, and yes, they're fantastic for airbrushing. But they do need a bit of special sort of measures with them. They need to be used properly. If you have a look on the MIG Jimenez website, YouTube channel, he actually shows you on there how to use them.
Yes,
just use them a little bit differently.
Yeah, unlike every other acrylic paint in the world, ammo paints, you can't, like Tamiya paints, although they're not really acrylic, but like Tamiya paints and Citadel paints, if you thin them down, and Vallejo paints, you can just do a little mist coat and then blap the color on there. Ammo paints, you can't do that because they'll orange peel. You have to do a misty coat to start with, and then another misty coat, and then another misty coat, and you build up the color in very thin mist coats. You can't just, as Ted would, slap the paint on because it will go orange peel. It's a particular quirk of ammo paints. So if you use ammo paints, don't suddenly panic that they're coming out terrible. You absolutely have to build the color up in thin misty coats. Every other paint, you can just do a mist coat for grip and then go ahead with the coat.
You'll see lots of posts about people panicking because they've used MIG, and then they say, oh, it's all sort of orange peeled and things, and people say, oh, you've got grease on your model, you want to degrease it. I always degrease my models. I never degrease. It's not grease on the model, it's the paint. Yes. How you use it.
Unfortunately, when they first started doing their actual paints, Ammo didn't communicate that very well. And for a few months, they got a lot of bad press because people were saying, these paints are terrible, the mats are all shiny and everything's orange peely. And then he came out and explained, you have to use them slightly differently than normal paints. And everybody kind of went, oh, right. So slowly it's getting out there that's how you have to do the Ammo paints.
Yeah. So yeah, go across. If you fancy using MIG, I'm moving across to MIG now, spreading most of my time transferring all the paints to MIG, and they're fantastic.
I mean, as a rule of thumb, it should be said that the way you have to apply ammo paints is really the way you should apply any paint anyway. You should always build up your colour with thin misty coats to get the best possible finish. But other paints are just more forgiving. So I'm getting warm, Ted.
You're going to take your coat off.
No, I've got it on now. I'm committed.
Yeah, can't take your coat off. Yeah, standing orders said we must be wearing coats today, and
this t-shirt might go in the wash afterwards. My cushion on my chair is doing my head in. Yeah, there's a crinkle in the cushion on my chair, and it's right in the wrong place.
Unless the boss issues standing orders that we can remove jackets, I'm afraid you've got to stick with it. Right, where else are we up to?
They can hear the wind around your studio, by the way. It's a wee bit windy.
Yeah, as I said before we started, I just had to go down and put some pegs or put some straps right over the top of it.
Tony Black says he's been using the Chinese airbrushes, but decided to get a proper one now.
I started off using a Chinese airbrush, and really, for what I was using it for, it didn't give me too bad results. I think it's what you get out the box or what you don't get out of the box, and mine was pretty good. I've actually kept it. I now use it for gloss coats and clear coat. I use it for that because if it gets gooped up, I'm not too bothered about it. But
I mean, that's the thing with the cheapy chips ones, the knockoffs. Some can be all right, but it's the fit and finish is never quite the same. Sometimes you get on where the nozzle doesn't quite line up with the needle. The seals don't last very long. So it's just more a case of if you're starting out, there's no point hobbling yourself while you're starting out. Just go for something decent to start with. But later on, it's worth getting a cheaper one, as like Ted says, a backup, or for your primer coats, just use a cheapy chips one if it works and doesn't splat everywhere, because then it's just, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, just keep it clean and it won't splat out paint, and it'll just blat out your primer, your clear coat. So and use it for that. That's what
Shaman Adrian asks, can we do a special prize and win Fox's hat? It's got my head jammed from many years inside. You don't want to wear that.
Yeah, it's got years of stories in that hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he starts. I was wearing this hat one day, and so this happened.
And anyway, if I didn't wear this hat, hang on. If I didn't wear this hat, you'd have to suffer that hat, and that hat's not as cool.
That's a summer hat.
Or is it cool? I don't know. People in the chat, to which hat do you prefer? Do you prefer the traditional blue or the slightly wide boy Caribbean island straw? Obviously, the blue is my fave because it fits properly.
It goes with the jacket, the blue one. I think the other one's more of a summer hat for the Hawaiian shirt and shorts.
Well, this is a summer hat. This is a Matalan special. It cost a £5 from Matalan many years ago.
Did you take it on your holidays with you?
Robert Blaylock says, no! Phil Lewis says he still uses his cheap Chinese airbrush. It lasted a couple of years so far. Must have got a good one.
Yeah, it's a potluck. Yeah, I just sort of, I think it was more or less given my airbrush and a compressor, or it was really sort of cheap as chips, and I just bought it off somebody second hand, and it just got us into airbrushing, and it lasted a few years, and it's still going really. Unfortunately, it's a siphon feed, so it's not brilliant. No, it's a side feed. Sorry, it's a side feed.
Our side feed's not too bad.
Yeah, it's about the mid-rib, better than a siphon, and not as good as a top feed.
Feedback on the hat: blue, 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 blue. Bowler hat.
Bowler hat.
TK says do the German one.
The German one. I'll have to get the police hat out. Yeah,
I could do the German one, but it might not go down very well. So. It's there, my little Einheitfeldmutz, but it's a bit tight on my head.
I've just put my hat away. I had a police hat underneath the beds for ages.
It's a replica Panzer cap, if you're wondering.
Right, where were we up to?
Let's have a look. Get a proper broad-rimmed fedora. I may or may not be biased. Wait there, I'm coming back.
Paul David, question: is life colour pigments any good, i.e. rain and dust? I haven't used the life colour ones. I've used the MIG ones and the AK ones. I can't comment really on the life colour, but it's most of the proper modelling pigments are as good as each other.
There you go. It just doesn't fit very well. It's a bit small.
The gangster look.
The brim's a bit shonky. Proper fedora. There you go. Which do you prefer, the fedora or the blue? The brim's all wonky on that. It's dead nice inside. Look, see.
Yeah, but you've been bending the rim down, haven't you, to look like a gangster?
I tried to give it a proper snap brim, and it all went a bit wrong.
Steam. That's what you need. Steam.
I tried that. See, the thing is, I love hats, but there's no milliners don't exist anymore. There's nowhere to buy hats really anymore. There's the Stockport Hat Museum. I could go there.
That's an interesting day. The Stockport Hat Museum.
Yes, it was a hat factory in Stockport, and they've got a museum. Yes.
Have an interesting day out at the Stockport Hat Museum.
I'd only go there to buy a hat. But so I do have a fedora. I have many hats. Right, what are we doing? Is this a model show then?
Yeah. Welcome to the Fox Hat Show, the Fox Hat Museum.
Yes,
travelling museum.
Griff MJ says he uses life colour, lay down and blow through the brush without any issue.
Yeah.
Going back to paints to use through airbrushes.
Yeah.
I mean, you can use any paint through airbrush, just make sure it's the consistency of skim milk or thinner.
Yeah, I've actually seen that. I've lost the question. Paul David was asking about colour pigments. Is life colour pigments any good? And on that note, if you're using pigments or washes, the ultimate weathering wash, that actually goes through an airbrush as well.
It does. You can get it on there. Yeah. You can spray it onto your model and then wipe it off. It's quite good.
Yeah. So that's
sandy effects.
Ties in with the rust and things like that. This one's dark dirt, light dirt.
Your dark dirt.
Dark dirt, light dirt, concrete, and I don't have a rust. No, I've got mud. Did I have mud? Well, yeah. So they'll go through an airbrush as well. So you can put just about anything through your airbrush.
Yeah. Chris Smith says should get Will from Models by Will to send me an Akubra hat.
Oh, what? Huh?
The proper waxed, that they wear in the bush.
Oh, right. Ah, right. I've got my
proper bush hat. Not like a bush hat with the thing like that, like they had in the war, but proper, like, you know, g'day, I'm Australian. I got the thing, but Will's from New Zealand, you see, not Australia.
Right. Yeah, we're losing track here. We're going off.
Arif Al-Sahali says, can one of you guys add the link, Ted or Fox? Will link to what?
Link to what? eModels?
What are we linking to? I can't, but Ted can.
eModels?
Type the eModels URL, add the part. Oh, hang on. It's something to do with Meng. I saw something. Can somebody put what it is in the chat again so we can see what we're supposed to be linking to? Because I can't find it in the chat. There's something to do with Meng tools of some sort.
Right. In the meantime, Ian Price is building the 132nd Revell Mark III Lee tank, and he's got round to doing the vinyl tracks. Yes. I normally use CA glue to attach the tracks, but was wondering if there's a better glue out there.
Are these the flexible Tamiya style ones?
Yeah, the flexible, the rubbery type, these ones.
Yeah, a couple of staples.
A couple of staples, that's all you need.
Literally, a couple of staples.
Yeah, and then just move the track round to somewhere you won't see it. If it's got track guards on the side, skirts, hide them under there. If it hasn't got skirts, you can hide the staples underneath the wheel and do it that way. But yeah, that's the best way of doing it. Yeah.
Question from Kenneth. Hi, Kenneth. Question: what do you use to clean oil paint off paintbrushes? I shall show you. Odorless oil paint thinner. And you can use, basically, oil paints and enamel paints share the same thinners, so they're basically mineral spirits. So these are from an AN art shop, low odor oil thinners. You can use these for enamels or oils. You can use turpentine. You can use white spirit. The only reason I'd suggest a kind of low odor thinners is because they don't stink as much as turpentine and white spirit.
Yeah.
But you can use, I think, maybe do some enamel thinners, but they're just mineral spirits. Or you can go to a hardware store and get, you know, mineral spirits, anything that's turpentine or white spirit based, that kind of thing, or the chemical mineral, because they're not mineral spirits. But anything for oil paints, you go to even your local art shop will sell oil paint thinners, but go for low odor. They're also known as low odor terpenoids, which are an artificial form of turpentine.
Unfortunately, my art shops near to me don't have any low odor thinners.
Wow. I mean, the old standby was you know, turpentine and white spirit, but they stink. But you can use those for enamels as well. And you can also use those for when you're doing enamel weathering effects or oil paint effects. It's the same thing as you use to do streaking and stuff.
Yeah. For some reason, I get the idea that odorless thinners are not as violent. Is that the right word? Violent as ordinary white spirit.
Strong. I've never had a problem with them.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you look at an artist, when an artist is painting on canvas and they're using oil paints and they get their brush and they go, I'll clean the brush out. They just go with the brush and that's it. It's clean. It doesn't. It's oil paints can be broken down easily if they're on a brush by those thinners. They don't need to be strong. It's not like acrylic paints, which can harden and crisp up on the brush even after a few minutes. Oil paints just are easily stripped off your brush, so you don't need a lot.
Yes, a lot of people say white spirit deluxe tamarind extra thin works sometimes. Yeah, do we talk about the same thing? I think we're two different.
I wouldn't use extra thin glue on it.
I think
is that two different conversations?
Two different conversations there. Oh.
Adrian, I screwed up a Meng Mark A Whippet 135th tank. Any ideas what I can do with the kit? How did you screw it up? What did you do to it? If it's beyond hope, make it a test pig for when you're practicing airbrushing and things like that.
Yeah, either that or make it a casualty of war, sort of Mark A Whippet, look good buried in some mud, or things like that, or even just weather it up. Depends, yeah, as Fox says, depends what you've done with it. But have a go. Don't give up. Even if you complete it and it's screwed up, just then use it as a test pig for paints and weatherings.
it's always good to have one scrappy kit lying around that you can practice things on. Instead of doing stuff on spoons, you might think, I'm going to see if I can do this particular weathering technique. Yes, I can. Brilliant. Now I can do it on my expensive model that I haven't screwed up.
Yeah.
Question for you, Ted.
Yeah.
Chris says it's obviously the question people want to know right now. He says, question, Ted, what is the one paint with the red lid behind you?
The one paint with a red lid.
Yeah, it's in the wrong place, clearly. It's annoying him.
That one. Oh, right. It's just a Viejo. I don't know why it's got a red lid. No, I don't know why it's got a red lid, because it's no different to anything else. It's from the Panzer series, in intermediate green. No idea why it's got a red lid. But
now, I am kind of glad he asked you that, because I always encourage our viewers to give you any reason to say Vallejo or Edward, because you can't pronounce them. And I love it when he tries to pronounce them.
Edward.
So try and get him to say Vallejo or Edward as much as possible.
Oh, on that note, Gaz Vickers says, hey all, what paint do Trumpeter recommend, as they just have numbers in the box? And this is his first Trumpeter kit. Well, it just so happens I built 1 or 2 Trumpeter kits, and they actually recommend Mr. Hobby, Viejo, Model Master, Tamiya and Humbrol.
So pretty much quite a few.
Yeah, what you usually find in the Trumpy paint call-outs is that they will give you the equivalents. They'll give you the Mr. Hobby ones. I think that's the first choice, because they always list the full list of Mr. Hobby, which are brilliant paints, by the way. Then they'll give you the alternative in Viejo, Model Master, Tamiya and Humbrol. And I think they're actually now going over and listing MIG as well on some of them.
Yeah. There's a question from TK's Models there, Ted. Can you just read that out for me?
Yeah, hang on, I can't find it.
Right at the bottom.
Right at the bottom. Does Viejo paint stick on Eduard parts?
Thank you, TK.
Thank you, TK. I think it does. Yeah. As long as you slap it on.
Smooth's Workshop says, read the orange lid. That's old MIG stock without the agitator balls. Stirring balls. No, yellow tops have agitators.
Yeah, I think that
is the way now. I think it didn't used to be.
But this is the Viejo one.
He just wanted to say Viejo again, didn't he?
Yeah, that's a Viejo one. Yeah, that one's got a grey one, but that's game colour. Yeah. Check it out, my paint chart, my paint shelves. That's game colour.
Tell you what, Ted, if you've got game colour, that means you're going to have to start doing some Warhammer kits. You know that, don't you?
Right, it's the only orange I could find at the time.
Well, you need to get yourself I've forgotten what it's called. The joke's failed because I've forgotten what the thing's called now. Baneblade. There you go.
Baneblade. I might do the Baneblade one day. I might see what Father Christmas fetches me. It was my birthday last week. Everybody forgot. I
didn't forget. I just didn't get you anything because I'm scared.
I'm sure the postman got lost on his way, did he?
David Raff. When adding decals to a model kit, how long did it take you guys to master that? I never decal well.
I think it's just part of the building process. It just comes a lot. You just develop an art for doing it, or a skill. Just taking your time, as Fox is doing at the moment with his cartographs on his Eagle. Just take your time.
I mean, I always say about decals that it's not actually that hard. It's the big variables are how good are the decals in the first place. In a lot of kits, not very good. Like if somebody's first go of decals is a Mobius kit, they'll think they can't do decals. No, it's just that Mobius do terrible decals. It's just a bit of patience and using the right equipment. So making sure, using a setting solution of some sort like microcell and microset, or, decal softer and Mr. Mark setter and Mr. Mark softer, something like that, which can just make them look fantastic. But a lot of the time, the person doing the actual decaling is probably doing a really good job. It's just that for a lot of kits, decals are really, really pants. So don't lose hope too much.
Yeah, especially when it comes to the tiny, tiny decals. Yeah. If you lose 1 or 2 in a build, don't fret over it. Don't worry about it. Nobody's ever going to know.
No. Yeah. I mean, the latest episode of the Eagle build that's up on the channel now, on eModels channel, actually includes decals. So have a look. That's showing how to do it with water. There's other ways to do it, but that's showing the traditional way of using water in a setting solution. So have a look and see on there. But don't lose faith. It's probably just that the decals you're trying to put on the model aren't very good. 95% of the time, it's somebody's trying to apply really bad decals, like they've got a Mobius kit or something like that. The best decals I've ever come across are, apart from the cartograph ones on this Eagle, which are incredible, by far the best decals you'll ever come across are Games Workshop decals. They're amazing. They're really, really good, bizarrely. Revell, because they use cartograph, their decals are actually really, really nice. And I do like Bandai decals. And I also like Tamiya decals, but a lot of people don't like Tamiya decals because they're quite thick and they can require a bit of work. But by far the best ones are Revell and Citadel to me, apart from 100% pure cartograph ones, which are just the best. So it depends on the kit you're building and what the decals are. If it's going wrong, it's probably not you.
Colin Hudson asks, can you get a paint conversion chart anywhere? Yes. They're all over.
There's a big, massive Excel spreadsheet on the internet somewhere. Just do a Google search for model making paint conversion chart. There is a big, massive spreadsheet that lists all the paints in the world. I think it's only about 2 or 3 years out of date, but it's pretty close.
Most of the good ones are there. If you've got an iPhone, you can get an app, Model Paint 42. That doesn't do them all, but it'll convert most of the common ones: Humbrol, Revell, Tamiya, Viejo, Humbrol, Revell. That'll convert quite a few of the common paints for you. So if you have a look at Model Paint 42, if you've got an iPhone, I don't know whether it works on Android. If you can find it on Android as well.
There is a question there. I'm just doing a little bit of a search on eModels to answer one of the questions.
Michael Jackman says, thanks, Ted, for your tips on putting on the Panzer IV tank track links together. He's finished them today and didn't break a single pin. Well, he did better than I did, because I broke quite a few. It's nice when they all get together, and they've got a huge track, all flexible, and play with that for hours.
Sharman asks if eModels do decals. Yes, just go onto the eModels website and do a search for decals. They do a lot of decals for specific kits, like decals for a specific vehicle or a specific plane. They don't do like their own decals, but they do sell decals. So just do a quick search on eModels for decal. I just did one now. There's loads. Oh, Ted, you've got all full screen. Hang on.
Sharon asks, where am I going to display my U-boat? I'll be displaying it at eModels, because that's where it's going back to.
Yes.
Honestly, I just don't have anywhere to store it at home. I'll be going back to eModels when I finished it, so everybody can see it as they call in to the eModels store. That's where.
I was kind of hoping that last time Ted took he took the big tank he did to eModels. And I had a couple of bills from them that I'd take down. So I basically cadged a lift with Ted and we drove down to eModels. But I'm going to have the same situation where I finish this Eagle. But when I finish this Eagle, Ted's still got about 2.5 years to go on his U-boat. So I've got to actually drive myself down to eModels next time. I don't like driving on the motorway. I might see if Tony wants a day trip out to eModels.
Well, you don't have
some company on the way.
Yeah, from Manchester to Telford, it's that speed limit. Yeah, it's that speed limit all the way, so you only have to drive about 20 miles an hour. You don't need to go any faster. Question, Ted. I think this is actually for you, Fox. Question to Ted. Where are you now on your space project? I'm not on a space project, so that's why I think it's down to Fox.
My space project? I assume it means my Eagle. So far, I'll just move Odo out of the way. Hello. So far, we have most of the major assembly done. So the main fuselage is built. That's not glued on. That's just clipped on the end. It grips that way nicely. So that's all. It's all been primed and got the base coats of paint and gloss coat. We have the reconnaissance pod has been all painted up and is going through the decal process. We also have The 4 pods have been decaled. Oops, throwing them around. 4 foot pods have been decaled, so they're all looking quite good. And the command module, you won't come out on camera, but that's all been fully decaled now. So you don't realise, but there's lots of blue and grey panelling on there. And that's all the rather excellent and absolutely gorgeous cartograph decals that come with the special edition of the kit. So that's done. So really, once all the decaling's done, which I'm hoping to get finished this week, a little bit of weathering, paint the engine bells, we're kind of done then. But the big challenge at the minute is exactly what kind of weathering I'm going to do. I'm not sure yet. I've got to think logically, because they're not on Earth, they're on the moon. But if you look at, I was saying this in a stream the other day, look at the space shuttle when it goes up to the, or when it used to go up to the ISS and come back. It's only been in space for a few days, but when it comes back, it looks battered because of all the going in and out the atmosphere. So I'm thinking about the weathering. So I can't do lots of mud and dust and dirt, but there's still things I can do. So we'll see. So basically that and a bit of weathering and I should be done.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be going in and out the atmosphere, would it? Or did it? Did it come back to Earth? Or did it?
What?
Not? The Eagle?
No, but they used to land on planets. So
Yeah.
there's no atmosphere on the moon, but they'll often go into a planet for an
It's
adventure.
always dusty on the moon anyway.
Yeah, so there'll be some carbon scoring from our planetary atmospheres, and there'll be some dirt and dust from landing on planets. My theory will be, in line with the canon for Space 1999, and I'm not normally that accurate, but they've got the resources to repair and replace parts on the Eagles because they can use the resources of the moon. So they can fix things. They can rebuild them every time Alan Carter crashes one. But they don't want to use a lot of water, which is a precious resource, cleaning them. So I'm going to make them look a bit used and battered. So it's mostly on the moon, a few planetary atmospheric entries. But if you look at like the Apollo astronauts when they were walking around on the moon, their EVA suits were had loads of black smudges all over them because the moon dust is really dark. So they do get dirty. So I will be weathering it. I'm just not exactly sure of the color palette yet. So we'll figure that out.
Maybe they've got that no water cleaner from Halford, you know, you squirt it on and rub it off.
Yeah, they're like, I'm going to clean the thing. The water goes up. There will be some weathering, but it's not going to be traditional mud splats and things like that. It'll be more, I don't know yet. I'll figure it out.
Bashing Kits asks, is Ted going to get Thunderbird 2?
The D'Agostini one.
The D'Agostini one. I think what I'll do, I'll get it. I'll build it in. I'll do 6 episodes and then just leave it. It's the best I can do.
Oh, you're the dude. Oh, I'm never going to live that down, am I?
Yeah.
For those that don't know, I started a build of the D'Agostini Millennium Falcon. I got to episode 6, filming episode 6, and stopped. And nobody's ever let it lie. But actually, you know, Ted, I think you should do the Thunderbird 2. Because you've got a couple of years. You've got a couple of years till it's all finished. So you can get the U-boat out of the way. Yeah, but you know what Thunderbirds is. That's your era.
Yeah, but I'll use all my pension up on it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It must be cheaper just to wait till somebody's selling the whole thing off, till somebody else buys the lot and then sells it off cheaply.
Phil Lewis says about weathering on the Eagle. He says, as I remember the show, you'll probably need lots of multicolored dust, as some of those planets were pretty gaudy. I'll need lots of sparkles, wouldn't I? Basically, lots of glitter. Paul Stewart says, even Ted's doing the 6-episode joke. Vincent says, sick burn from the moustache. TK says, I never knew there was any 6 episodes. I'm not talking now. I'm giving up. Vincent says, insert slow clap gif here.
Yeah, well, as this chat on here degenerates, I think we should move on to the email questions. We've got an exciting question here from Shaw. No, we haven't. We've got the exciting question from Meg. Hi, Meg Johnson. Hi, guys. Hope I'm not getting blown about too much tonight. It's blowing a gale around here. I can hardly hear anything. She's found that scale model building is very male dominated. Why do we think that is? And why do you think what would you do to encourage more women to take up the hobby? She's still working on the Scooby-Doo van. I remember that one. That was in a giveaway. That was quite a fun giveaway. That one. We're looking forward to seeing it when you're doing it. She's still working on the Scooby-Doo van, but changing the colours. That would be interesting to see. So how do we think that model making is male orientated? I think it's just naturally the way it's gone.
I think it stems from its origins. If you look at them, and this is a very British perspective, so obviously this is different to the US, but I think in the UK, model making really kind of boomed in the 70s, late 60s and 70s. And at the time, it was a kind of it was a very chauvinistic time when, you know, men had their hobbies and women were just housewives, and that's just the way society was at the time. And it wasn't right, but that's the way society was.
The men just sat with their pipes and the cardigan and the slippers on, and
yeah, and all the models were based on like World War II vehicles or jet planes and things like that. So it was kind of aimed at the male society because they, at the time, and again, this isn't me saying anything, this is just the way it was. At the time, it was the man who had the disposable income, or the children, and then the man who had the disposable income in the society. So it kind of started that way. And the same with the model railway thing, which is where the model building thing all sort of spooned from. So it's kind of from there, and it's never really shifted away from that. That's why there's a big
it was I think it's a very sexist thing, wasn't it? The man did the manly things and guns and trains and things like that, and the women did the women things, sewing, knitting, cooking, things like that. Unfortunately, that's the way it was in them days. Airfix did try to sort of get into the female market. I think they tried to sort of give one or two things. They did birds, didn't they? And Anne Boleyn and Henry VIII figures and things like that. Whether that was aimed particularly at women, we're not too sure. But what would we do to encourage more women to take up the hobby?
I mean, I think to feed into the answer, a lot of the problem was that when the model kit manufacturers did try to sort of do something for the ladies, it was kind of still within that sphere of kind of sexist society. So the men got their planes and tanks and guns, and the women got, oh, it's a bird, or like you say, Anne Boleyn or something. And it was always like, here's one for the little ladies. No, that didn't really make any difference because frankly they were just pap. I think now it's beginning to change because for two reasons. One, nowadays women are just as interested in building tanks and planes and guns as everybody else. I think that's become a more normal state of affairs. So, you know, you see women builders doing that, and that's great. But also model manufacturers now are starting to do lots of subjects that aren't particularly if you, well, I mean, it's like you get lots of subject matter like Gunpla. Gunpla is kind of male oriented, but not 100%. But it's neither one or the other. It's just kind of neutral. So women can build Gunpla just as and have as much fun and be enthused about it as much as men. It's not as male stigmatized as, say, a tank or a fighter plane or something like that. And I think society is changing anyway, in that, you know, women are being exposed to that, to the, you know, because if you look at model making, it's traditionally military stuff with some other bits thrown in. And I think the sci-fi side of things is helping women come in because, you know, that may be very of their interest, but also they're getting into military. I think it's great because you do see more and more female model makers, and I love it. I think it's brilliant. Some of the best model makers I know, Chandra Stewart, some of the best painters and figure painters, for example, are women, and it's great. I think it's brilliant. I agree. It is still too male dominated, and that's not right. It should be for everybody. I think the other problem, part of the problem is that a lot of male model makers have that mindset that it's a boys' toys hobby. And I think they need to change as well. So, you know, I've seen it where somebody will go on and post something up and they'll get abuse because the person giving the comment realizes that whoever's made this really good model is a woman, and they then throw abuse or criticize it unfairly, and that's not right.
Well, so one thing I have noticed as well in model competitions through my past and things like that, there used to be a competition entry. There used to be a competition group for women as which has disappeared now, and quite rightly so, that the women shouldn't need to be put in a separate section.
No.
They should be able to compete on a level with the men. And sometimes the women were beating the men, which is brilliant to see. Because, as you said, Chandra, for an example, is just one that springs to mind, is an excellent model painter.
Yeah, Chandra's a friend of ours, and she's just does the most amazing figures. I think the biggest problem today, it stems from, like me and Ted have said, like 1960s, 1970s chauvinist society. That society is gone now, not 100%, but it's, the problem now is the hang-up that men have about women in their hobby, in their opinion, and I think they need to just get rid of that mentality. It's a hobby for everyone. It's a hobby for men, women, adults, children, anybody. It doesn't matter if you're male, female, or anything. All that matters is you've made a model and you've had fun doing it. And we can, if I look at a model and it's a really great build, I don't care who the builder is, if it's a man or a woman, young or old, doesn't matter. That's not important. It's important is it's a great thing, model they've built and they had fun doing it. But too many men, and I'm pointing the finger and I'm a man, just to clarify, just in case you're wondering, too many men have hang-ups about women in what they see as their hobby, and that needs to stop, because that's what puts women off. If I joined a hobby and just got constant abuse, I'd walk away from the hobby, and I think that's what puts a lot of women off.
Yeah.
We're going a bit political here, but I think we need to sort out our own house, basically.
Yeah, I think it does work the other way as well, though. My wife has just been to a quilting sort of demonstration tutorial, a quilting day, and the course was run by a man. So yeah, it does work both ways.
Yeah. I mean, it's not to say that there aren't women out there that like doing women's things, what would have been called, women's pastimes 30 years ago. Of course there are. Some women like doing needlework and all that kind of stuff, but there's a lot of women that would like to do things that men do that they perceive that women shouldn't do. And somebody mentioned motorsport. Exactly, things like motorsport. There's no reason for any activity to be male or female. It should be open to everybody. And I think as a male model maker, we seriously need to get our house in order, because there's a lot of hang-ups amongst model makers that they need to just throw off. Yeah. Anyway, that's my rant for the evening. It's a good question. It's a good discussion to have.
Yeah, good discussion. Yeah, we will more than welcome women into the activities, and I'm sure some of the guys out here in the chat and watching us on the tubes, the ladies, the partners are quite supportive of them, and sometimes they will join in and have a build of their own. And if you do, let's have a look at it. It's brilliant to see. And Meg, when you've done the Scooby-Doo van, let's have a look at it. Send some pictures. Yeah, send some pictures into the gallery. You never know. Let's have a look at it. Right. Let's have another one. Before we go and have a look at what's in stock, I'm
going to have to take the jacket off. It's going to have to come off. I got political then and energized in the conversation. And now I'm a little bit sweaty, so. Apologies to the management.
This is from Jamie Bourne. Hi, Ted and Fox. He's currently building the Revell 125th U47, and he's asking how to paint the crew figures and how much weathering he should do in it. Also, what colour should he paint the engines? Is this the 147? Is this the U47 the one you did, Fox?
No, mine was a. It was the 172nd 7C, which I think was by default was U552. I think. But
I think I know the one he's on about. There is a smaller cutaway version, isn't there? And I'm thinking, if I'm rightly thinking, that the figures in that are those blue ones.
Yeah.
And as for painting them, I wouldn't bother.
The vinyl ones with the wibbly wobbly. Yeah. I got little vinyl figures with my 72nd scale Revell U-boat. I threw them away.
Yeah,
because they're too flexible. You can prime them and paint them, and the paint will stick. But as soon as you move them, if they bend, it just flakes off. I wouldn't.
Yeah, and they're all they're like the old plastic soldiers used to.
Like the ones we showed the other week, the little Airfix ones
with bent arms and bent guns and things like that.
I tried painting some of them, but there's no point.
Yeah.
They were really nice figures, but they were just in stupid vinyl, which was really weird.
Yeah. Well, how much weathering should he do? As much as you want. Have a look at some photographs of the real thing and see how they were weathered, whether they were just starting on patrol or coming back from patrol.
I will put, Ted, I will find it now, I will send you a link. Do you remember that big thing of U-boat paint and weathering that I sent you many years ago?
Yeah.
I'll send you a link now if you want to put it in the chat for people.
Yeah.
It's kind of an ultimate guide to how U-boats were painted, in what colours, and how they actually weathered in real life and what they look like. So if you give me a second to find it, I will find it.
And he says, what colour should he paint the engines? Trumpeter says to paint the engines a buff colour. I decided to paint my engine green. I made my own colour green up, so I can't really tell you what the formula is.
I'm sending you a link, Ted.
Right, I'll get that and paste it into chat.
Now it's to basically it's a place called amp.rocket.biz. It's an Australian company, and it's fine to post it here because they sell a couple of photo etch bits and bobs, but they have this guide which Ted's going to post up for you, hopefully in the chat if it works, which is just indispensable if you're making U-boats, because it will give you. It talks about the paints that we used, how they changed during the war, how U-boats actually weathered. That's the most important bit. It's like, you know, things like if you're doing rust on the U-boat, don't do rust below the waterline, because they didn't rust below the waterline.
Yeah, I just ordered it a minute for it's not letting me paste the
is it not? Okay.
into chat. So yeah. I'll send him it on email. I'll send it in email.
Yeah, send him on email. Oh well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We tried. I apologize. My video seems quite choppy tonight as well, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I think the weather's affecting things at the moment. Mine's going a bit as well.
Yours is fine at my end. It's just mine seems to be really choppy. Don't quite know why. It
seems to. Yeah. Right. Another one from email. Then we will go and have a look at what's in store.
Yes. Phil Lewis says, "Why do manufacturers make vinyl figures? It defies logic."
Yeah, exactly.
Robert Blaylock says, can you send him that link as well? Drop Ted an email, ted@emodels.co.uk, and just say, please give me the link for the U-boat stuff.
Yeah. Right, I'll get it to you as soon as I spoke to Fox after the mail, and we'll send it back up.
Robert Blaylock says, is that an eModels approved t-shirt? No. It's video games. It's video games. If you know what this is, you're a cool dude.
Yeah, I think we are getting some eModels t-shirts. So there's plans in the pipeline to get some proper eModels t-shirts.
Yes, I have had words with Pete, mate.
Yeah, the man. Paul Stewart says, cheese on toast, plain or with extras? Do you just have cheese on toast, or do you put some extra on it?
I don't really have cheese on toast, to be honest.
Bit of Worcester sauce gives me terrible.
Because if I'm gonna have toast, see, if I have toast, it's as a breakfast thing, so I want sweet stuff on it, like apricot jam or Nutella or something. I don't really do toast as a savoury, or if I do have savoury toast, it's with a bowl of soup of some sort. Don't really do cheese on toast.
And do we ever look at an area we've just got to mask off and contemplate just not finishing the kit? Do we ever look at an area that we've got to mask off? I'm having a shout above the wind.
It's a bit windy there, isn't it? Yes, it's a bit windy there, Ted. It's a bit windy here too, as you can tell.
A bit windy here. Do you ever look at a kit that you're going to mask off and you think, I'm not going to do
that? Yeah, when I did this, when I was looking at that, I was like having little kittens about masking off the anti-glare strips. Then I remembered they actually came as decals, and I was like,
yeah. I think it's a case of biting the bullet and getting on with it. That's usually the way. Because if you've got a kit and you're down to the masking bit, you must be down to painting it. Must be at the painting stage, and then you thought, well, yeah, let's go for it and just get on with it. That's what I do with it.
Yeah. Shaman Adrian says, Ted, have a look at the film Das Boot. This may be useful. I actually made the U-96 when I did my 7C U-boat. I know Das Boot very, very well.
Yeah, I've got a copy. I've got a Das Boot pirate copy.
Das Boot is very, very well known in the UK. It's an awesome.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've watched it a couple of times. Sometimes I have it playing in the background when I'm doing a bit of building.
The trick is, though, to watch the proper multi-part series, not just the 3-part movie that was put together. Watch the full 7 or I think it was 8 or 9 episodes, wasn't it?
There was quite a few.
Full series, not the
They did run it as a
compressed.
series, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, there was a compressed movie because I remember watching it as a kid when it was first on TV on Channel 4. Sergeant Bone says haggis. Oh, I love haggis.
Haggis on toast.
Yeah, I could do that. I love haggis.
Do they have haggis in Orkney? Haggis in Orkney. Do they have haggis?
I'm sure they probably do have haggis in Orkney, which is just above Scotland. Although not part of Scotland.
Final question from the emails. Simon O'Callaghan. Callaghan.
You got it. Oh, you got it right, and then you got it wrong. You're right.
I have to try it. I get it right and they get it wrong, and then just to keep.
You just cover yourself.
Just to keep it standards. Highton Fox currently building the AMT USS Defiant in 1/420th scale.
Oh, that's a pig of a kit.
I've done some pre-shading before laying down the base colour, but the panel lines are raised rather than recessed. How does he pre-shade? How does he? I'm used to what. Hang on, I'll start this again.
Do you want to go out and come back in again, Ted?
Yeah.
You're basically saying how to appreciate it when it's got raised panel lines.
I'd appreciate when you got raised panel lines.
To put no finer point on it.
Sorry, I'll have another swig of gin.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ted. It's the Defiant. It's the Star Trek Defiant, not the ship.
Yes, I know the kit. I've built that. I've built that kit. It is. The kit itself looks fantastic and it's massive, but it's a pig to build because none of it fits very well. But once you've fixed all that, it looks fantastic. But yes, it does have raised panel lines. Your two options are ignore the fact that raised panel lines and go ahead and pre-shade it anyway as you normally would. Don't worry about it because a lot of those raised panel lines, you're going to be masking off the coloured panels like the greys and the eggshell blue and things like that. They're going to kind of follow those panel lines anyway. So a lot of those will be panel lines where the color actually changes, so it will make your masking a bit easier. The other thing you can do if you really want to, and to make it look even more awesome, is to actually sand those down and scribe panel lines in instead, so you're getting from raised panel lines to recessed panel lines. It's tricky, but if you basically get the raised panel line, one way to do it, I've never been very good at it, but one way to do it is get the raised panel line, put Dymo tape, that thick stuff that you use to print letters on, the Dymo tape stuff, on either side of it, right against it, and then you can start scribing it away and you'll scribe in a panel line. Or just sand it flat and you'll see a trace of it and start to scribe that. But if you're not too sure about doing the scribing, just don't treat it any differently. Just do the pre-shading as you normally would, and just go ahead with it. And as I say, most of those raised panel lines will be on a joint between two different colour panels anyway. It's quite an impressive build when you've got it done, so I wouldn't worry about the raised panel lines too much. They're not going to stand out and go, oh, people are going to go, wow, you've got a big, massive Defiant model. Cool. So, it's a pig of a kit, but it's great when it's done.
Right, before I get blown away and you can hear me over the wind, we'll go and have a look at what's in store.
Yes.
Right, I'll lock it on me so you can chat away and it won't keep flicking over.
Yes.
I'll find the right button to press.
Have you locked it on you, Ted, did you say?
It's locked on me.
Yes, good go.
Do a screen share. Hang on.
Somebody just said cold toast with custard. Ew.
Yeah. I can't stand custard anyway.
Avocado goes on toast. Ew.
Right. I've got a screen share.
Do it.
Right. And the first thing we come to is the offers page. Don't forget about the offers page, guys. There's lots of stuff on here, and some of it is actually up to 45% off. Keep checking daily, or whenever you dip into eModels to buy something, have a look at the offers page. It just might be a chance that what you want to buy is already in there. So right, what we're going to have a look at this week, we usually try and pick up a theme, and I picked up a bit of a theme this week. We're going to do utility vehicles. Now every army has a mass of utility vehicles to sort of keep them fed and watered and things like that. And one of the things we did come across was this Land Rover.
Oh, Series 3, I'm getting flashbacks. I miss my Series 3, Ted. I really miss my old Series 3.
A friend of mine, another friend of mine, had a Land Rover. Now, whether it was a Series 3 or not, but they were great little things.
Well, the easy way to find out is if the headlights are on the wings like that one, it's a Series 3.
Right.
If the headlights are inside the wings, so actually inside the grille, or by the side of the grill, it's a Series 2.
Right.
And you'll recognise a Series 1 because it looks like a million years old.
Yeah.
So headlights on the wings is Series 3. I used to have a Series 3 long wheelbase just like that. It was blue, and it was the best car I've ever had, ever. I wish I hadn't got rid of it. I'd miss it every day. It's just such fun to drive. It's got like no brakes, and it weighs 2.25 tons, and it's death. If you crash it, you'll die. It's great. It's got a steering wheel about a foot across.
And you sat on the petrol tank. The petrol tank was underneath the seat.
No, that's the lightweight military version.
Ah, right.
That's the normal civilian one, like that one. I can't remember where the petrol tank was at the back, but big plastic steering wheel about 3 foot across.
Now, this one here is shown as the civil police. It's a Guardia Civil.
Guardia Civil, Spanish police. Spanish police?
No, Irish.
No, that's Garda.
Oh, what's Guardia then?
I'm sure Guardia Civil.
Yeah, well, whatever. These utility vehicles can be done. A lot of them were always sold off after their use, and a lot went into civilian use. So there's lots of options. You don't need to paint them in military colours or anything like that. So I picked a few out that you could sort of change yourself into civilian use, civilian colours. But yeah, a cracking little kit. This Italieri. You didn't have any problems with the transit van that you built, did you, Fox?
No, it was actually it actually went together really nicely. And I found out later it's actually quite an old tooling for that transit van. So considering it was a early 1990s, late 1980s tooling, it actually went together quite well.
Yeah, and I believe
some bits of flash here and there, but you know, it was fine. No major problem.
I don't know. I think it's a different series. That there is another transit van out by Italieri. It's done in a police control van colour. Sort of now whether that's the same one, but having a look on the website, I don't think it's reached eModels yet.
Simon O'Callaghan says Irish Garda would be blue with the white roof, and also Garda. It is Spanish.
Well,
Guardia Civil.
No,
Vincent says, haha, Guardia Civil might be a sensitive topic with the whole Spain thing going on.
Oh, yeah. I didn't choose that intentionally anyway. But yeah, something that can be, you can use it in change it into a farmer's rat catcher, or anything like that. But yeah.
But basically, if you make a Land Rover model, you are contractually obliged to cover it in mud, dirt, and filth and dirt. Trust me, that's how a Land Rover is supposed to look. You need to move on from this because I'm getting sadness for missing my old Land Rover now. I want my old Land Rover back.
Yeah, and you can maintain them with a spanner and a hammer.
That's why I got one. Then I realised it wasn't. Well, I got one because I thought it'd be easy for me to maintain because I'm rubbish at mechanicking. And then I got it and realised I'd never seen a diesel engine before, and I'm like, I don't know how any of this works.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what a glow plug was. So
that actually is in the offers section this week. So if you fancy that, it's in the offers at eModels.
Land Rovers are awesome, great for weathering. Get one.
Now another one that you need to cover in mud and grit and dirt and things like that. The US Diamond T dump truck. Yeah, a lot of these were produced during the war, and a lot went into civilian service afterwards. Once again, you could paint it up to your heart's desire. You don't have to be in a military coloured. 1/35 scale, 50 quid's worth of kit. Down from 55.
The good thing about the buy and get things like trucks and stuff like that is in the 1/35 scale, they do come out as the bigger kits because they're bigger vehicles.
Yeah, cracking. And just think of the weathering options you have on that. Next time you're passing the building site and the wagons are delivering and plodding around, especially this time of year, it's getting all wet and muddy. Have a look at the weathering detail on the trucks on the building sites, and you can change your US Diamond T into one.
Yeah, and the thing to bear in mind is a lot of these military trucks and vehicles as well, upon the end of the war, entered into non-military service, like civilian service. So there's a lot of scope to not paint it as a military vehicle, like Ted says. You can have all kinds of fun with that.
Yep, all right. And I think Mick do a civil weathering set as well. I should have found that out. We can have a look. Another one, a breakdown truck. Used to see these, well, not this particular type because this is a Chevrolet, but used to see the AECs, the Matadors and things like that from the British Army on the UK roads, turned into recovery trucks, heavy haulers. I think fairgrounds used to sort of buy them up.
Yep.
Generators and things on the back. Yeah, multitude of uses.
It's a squidgy little thing, isn't it? It's got a squidgy shaped little truck cab to it.
Yeah, it looks quite sort of vintage, doesn't it? So, yep, lots of sort of Ted's Recovery on the side of that somewhere. Yeah,
could feel little airstrip dioramas and things like that.
Yeah, nice little truck there, 1/72 scale, and it's only £9.35.
Yeah, can't beat that.
Brilliant. Right, this was one that I had to throw in, really.
Yeah, this is one of those you have to have built one of these if you at some point as a rite of passage kit. This is the Sherman tank of the military truck world, basically.
Yeah. Now we would call it an Opel Blitz, but we're not allowed to. Well, certainly Tamiya doesn't seem to be allowed to, but they just call it a German cargo truck. Yes,
Opel. Apparently, the story goes that Opel refused to license the Opel Blitz to model manufacturers because they kind of wanted to forget about the fact they made vehicles during the war. However, some model manufacturers do it anyway. But on this kit, when you build it, the badge on the grille doesn't say Opel Blitz. It's just plain and flat. There's no Opel Blitz written on it because they're not licensed to use the Opel name. That's why it's a 2 and a whatever ton cargo truck.
Yeah. So if you wanted to build yourself maybe a German fruit producer or a German lager delivery truck, this is the truck to do it with.
Actually, Ted, if you keep talking about it, I'll go and get, because I've built that kit. I'll go and get mine and show it on camera.
Yeah, go on. So that's the history of that one. There is quite a few others of this model that they actually do call it the Opel Blitz, but for some reason, Tamiya decided not to. It's been around for a few years. £27.90. A bit of a saving there from the 31 quid. And finally, while Fox goes away, the British utility car, light utility car. If you've ever seen a Second World War film, especially a British one, there's bound to be one of these in it somewhere.
I am returned.
Right, you hang on to it until
with not Opel Blitz in hand.
Right, couldn't find it.
Oh no, I've got it. It's just a car with an Opel Blitz.
All right, yeah. We'll just do this one, then we'll come back to you, and you can show it to everybody.
I'll show it when we've done.
Yeah, I'm just saying that if you watch a Second World War film, especially made by the Brits, there's always one of these in it. Somewhere, but delivering goods on the dockside, delivering an officer to his offices or things like that. But once again, hundreds of them made, and it could be Jones the Butcher's delivery van. And 10 horsepower, so it wouldn't got very far, very fast.
10 whole horses.
10 whole horses. And there's a bit of detail. There's a few photographs of the detail on this one. Yeah, just like the real thing, really. Not a lot under the bonnet.
It's probably about as complex as the real thing actually was.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
At the end of the day, these are Tamiya kits, so you know they're going to be good quality. These are some of the more recent kits. They're not like 1970s toolings like the Opel Blitz. But even having said that, the old Tamiya kits are better than most kits out there now. So
yeah, I was just looking at the windscreen wipers there. They look to be molded into the body. They don't look separate, but yeah, never mind. It's a bit of fun. Nice, cheap, easy kit, easy to build, go together brilliantly. And as I say, if you wanted to do it up as Jones the Butcher's delivery van, you can do that. Yeah, that's it. Give you all the options. Right, I'll stop sharing and come back.
Just before I do anything, I need to check something. Hang on. Somebody asked a question. I shall try and answer the question. Let's have a look. Griff MJ asks, he's looking for an SDKFZ 251/9 type German half track. Just do a simple. I don't know if there's that specific one. But again, on eModels, just do a search for half track.
Yeah,
I've just had a quick look down. There's quite a few half track kits in there, German and not German.
Yeah, it has a smart search on their web page now. So
there's actually 27 results. In fact, let me just have a search for that particular, because I should have done that. So hang on, let me have a look. Type 9. They might not have that specific one, but let's find out. No, that's not what I typed in, is it? There we go. It's auto-completing. It's all going wrong. There we go. It's not getting that specific one, but just do a search for half track. You'll see quite a lot of interesting things on there.
And once again, if they haven't got what you want, go to the webpage and contact us. It'll open up a form to fill in, and you can ask a question. You can ask them that very question: do they have that specific half track? And if not, when will it be in?
Yeah, and if it's something they maybe don't normally stock, but it's something that's available, they might be able to get it for you anyway as a special one-off. So, always worth asking.
Right.
Are you locked on?
Yeah, I'm looking on you. You can show us your half track.
I don't need to lock it on me. No, it's my Opel Blitz. I mean, a German half-ton cargo truck. There you go. It's not really much to see, but that is my. Doesn't really come out on camera. That's my Tamiya Opel Blitz. Shh. This is quite a few years old, so it's not the best build in the world, and it doesn't come out on camera. But there is an incredible amount of detail, especially underneath, which won't come out. But the full drivetrain, exhaust system, and everything's in. There's no engine. It's a curbside model. There's no engine in there. But you get two dudes that go inside, fully detailed cabin with the dashboard details. You also get a whole collection of jerry cans and barrels. Oh, jerry cans.
Well, they come with the kit.
Yeah, all those jerry cans and barrels come with the kit.
What?
So you can fill it full of cargo and stuff in the back. The only thing it doesn't come on with is the tarpaulin in the back, which is actually a post-it note folded up and painted.
What?
That's how I make tarpaulins. But it comes with a spare wheel. It comes with all the jerry cans, all the big metal barrels. Comes with a selection of decals. But it is a really, really nice kit. It's 1/35th, so it's a nice big size. But that's the thing about Tamiya's. They've always got like really nicely detailed drivetrains, and it's got fully turnable wheels. And as is my tradition, when you put it flat on the surface, one wheel doesn't quite touch the floor, but that's because I'm useless at doing vehicles.
I think that's a natural thing to build vehicles anyway, that the wheels don't touch the floor.
Yeah, but it is a really nice kit. I did it in about a week, and it's just because it's all German grey, basically. So you can have great fun with the weatherings and the dirt and dust. But there you go. Yeah. And the figures, being Tamiya as well, the figures inside are super detailed and really nice. I just didn't do a very good job of painting them. There you go. Take it off me now, Ted.
To think where you are now as opposed to where you were then.
Yeah, because I mean, this is about 5 or 6 years ago when I just got back into the hobby after about 30 years away from doing it. So I just got back in, and I hadn't quite learned a lot of the things that I now take for granted, like various weathering techniques. So the weathering on that was basically lots of use of Tamiya weathering pastels. So it's not really coming out on camera, really. I'll see if I can. Let's see if I can adjust the focus. Hang on, let me see if I can. I've got a thing for the focus here. Let's have a look. See if I can get it looking cool.
Zoom in. You could zoom in.
Oh, I don't need to zoom in. I could just make it actually in focus. Would be good. Right, let's see. Hang on. See if I can get this in focus for you.
That's it.
And there we go. Is that in focus?
That's all right. Looking good.
I'll get it the right distance so you can see inside. You have all the things. I'll adjust the focus as I go. I've actually got a slider for the focus.
Oh, yeah.
So it is like super really nicely detailed. You've even got like the 25 litres marking on the tops of the barrels. So it's prime for weathering. The underside is lovely and detailed. There's all the wooden slats for the decking on the back. And again, this is another model where you could go to town. There's a loose bit there. I keep wobbling it. You could go to town doing it up as a civilian vehicle. I've seen it with lots of like paint chipping effects on the wood, like somebody's got it as a civilian truck and painted it red, and all the paint's coming off and exposing the wood underneath. So there's a lot of potential, and it's a really nice kit. And I really did a mess of the drivers inside, but never mind.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you for that.
I'll put my focus back. There you go.
Right. Shaman asks, what's the figure next to Ted's phone? This one, this is my original mascot, the one that used to be at work. This is Skipper Ted.
Almost as big as the real thing, but
just like the real thing,
but petite.
Yeah,
people outside the UK won't get that, but never mind.
Yeah, it's far away. Yeah, that's my original Skipper Ted. So I'm a bit of a mascot there. Right, got time's getting on. It's 25 to 11.
Yes, well, I think we need to announce last week's winnerator, don't we?
Yep, right. Last week's winner. Just get my. Thank you. Right. We were giving away the little chibi Spitfire last week, weren't we?
Yes, we were.
It was new in store. I think it's still in stock. I didn't think about looking before. No, I'll look.
Well, we say every week there's two types of giveaways. There's the one that he who must be obeyed from him from up above will tell us to do, in which case it will be in stock because he'll keep one back for you. But sometimes Ted and I will just pick a kit at random and give it away on the spur of the moment. Like we'll decide half an hour before the show that we're going to give it away. So if it's one of those, and this Spitfire was, there's always the very slim chance that it might not be in stock, because either we haven't told Pete Mate to keep one, or it's been sold out before the show was finished, so before we even got a chance to realize it. So if it's one that we've done on the spur of the moment and it's not in stock, they'll sort something out for you with something of equal value. They'll let you pick something else of equal value.
Yeah, if it's a car, they'll send you a car. If it's a
yeah.
they'll send you
but that's only the ones that me and Ted do last minute. So last week's was a last minute one where we said we'll just do a giveaway. But sometimes Pete Mate will say, "Can you give this kit away?" And that way we'll know people this stuff.
Right. Yeah. Right. So we were giving away the new sort of chibi Spitfire, and the comment that won it this week was
the phrase was "chocks away ginger" or thereabouts.
Yeah. We had quite a large entry into the quote beneath the.
Whoa! Have you been away from your G&T too long, Ted?
Yeah, people were asked to comment below the YouTube channel that gives everybody a chance that hasn't been able to watch us live. And the quote last week was "chocks away ginger," and the winner was comment number 35, and that was. The winner was New Street TMD 39. New Street TMD 39. That's obviously the name of your YouTube channel.
Yep.
We don't know who you are. Yeah, so congratulations on that. Please send me Ted at eModels.co.uk.
On the off chance you're in the chat, but you've got a different name, I'll put it in there for you.
Yeah. Send me your details, and we'll forward them on to the guys at eModels, and we'll get your models sent off to you. So well done.
Yeah, well done. If you're not in the chat, just like Ted says, drop an email anyway.
Right.
Are we doing a giveaway today? We're not doing a giveaway. I'm worried about this bit on the front of my truck now. It's a bit wobbly. I need to glue it on when we finish this live stream.
What will happen now is that you'll get the glue out to glue that bit on. To glue that bit on, and then you'll think, well, I wonder what it just looks like with a bit of weathering around the wheels.
Yeah, I'll just fiddle with it, wouldn't I?
Yeah, and then before you know, you've got a fully weathered Opel Blitz truck.
Yeah, not Opel Blitz.
Not Opel Blitz truck.
It's a fully weathered Opel Blitz.
Yeah. Right. What else are we going to do tonight?
Are we doing a giveaway tonight or not? Have we had any word from above, from the dove from above?
Nothing yet. Nothing yet. Well,
I think he's been away. You know, I think he's been watching for the last few weeks.
Yeah, I think. Do you think he takes winter holidays?
I don't know. I mean, I took my jacket off and he hasn't phoned up. So.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Yeah.
Let's do a mug. A mug. We always do a mug.
You're a mug.
We always do a mug for you guys that come into chat, so you can win a mug live on the show. You can win a mug. I'm gonna find a question. I'll go find a question.
Okay, I'll explain what we do for anybody that's new. We'll always do I've caught some Ted. Hang on. I need some gin. I need some of Ted's gin now. We'll give away a mug. This will be a quick chat question, and what we do is, for anybody that's new in chat and never done it before, we'll ask a question, we'll say go, and you post the answer in the live chat. And what we do is Ted and I will take the first answer that appears in the chat that we see. Now, bear in mind that we don't see the chat the same way as you do, because your chat is tailored for you, whereas our chat is everybody in the order they actually come in. So we will see the first person that physically pressed the thing and enter. So it doesn't matter if you've got a bit of lag, it will still collate it all together. So we just hit the first one. If you've won a mug before, you're more than welcome to get another one. So feel free to enter again. You can have as many as you like. If you've got a mug before and you don't want another one, though, don't answer. Give someone else a chance to take part and maybe win one for themselves. But you can win this fine item, gin not included.
Yeah.
And to refer to someone's question in the chat earlier on, yes, tea does taste fantastic in these.
Yeah, tea tastes better in these. Yep.
Even though I'm a coffee man.
Yes, you can impress all your friends when they come around your house. You can get the eModels mug out.
Yeah, you can say, look at me, I'm awesome. Yes, hello.
Mr. Lord said, he's arrived. Yes, hey. Yeah, he's got a terrible delivery man, that Mr. Lord. It's terrible. Losing packages, don't arrive, and then you send them back. Right, the question tonight is... don't
answer till Ted says go. Just remember that. Don't answer till Ted says go.
The question tonight is about Fox's previous mode of transport. What mark was it? Go.
As in,
yeah, what mark was your previous transport?
What series is the phrase you're looking for?
What series, yeah.
Yes, what series of Land Rover did I used to drive? I told you earlier on. Nobody was paying attention. Oh, there we go. Bang, straight away.
Robert Blacklock.
Robert Blaylock is the first one.
Yeah.
Series 3. Yes, it was a Series 3 Land Rover. So, Robert.
Yeah.
Well done.
Paul
Hey, Ted, I found something, by the way.
What?
If you press the Alt key, it stops the chat.
Does it?
It stops it moving up.
Hang on, you want me to press a button?
No, actually, don't even do that. Yes, so Robert, well done. Just send a mail to Tedward, ted@emodels.co.uk, and he will sort out sending you your mug at some point when he can get to the post office, when he's not being blown around by hurricanes.
Yeah, I've got to wait a phone call in the morning, see if we have to go to work tomorrow.
Oh, yeah? You see if Windermere's still there.
Yeah, it might have blown all the water out of it.
He better be at the other end. Yeah, can you come to the other end of the lake today? Because we're starting from there. How come? Because we ended up there. Oh.
Yeah, well, we left the boat at Bowness. It's now at Ambleside. Right. Nothing tonight.
Raging Basis says, I knew I should have taken notes.
Yes,
yeah, always take notes.
Always take notes.
The best thing about a Series 3 Land Rover... Oh. Hello.
Hello. Really? I'll tell him, Fox, but you caught him.
Oh, man.
Yeah, yes, yeah, I've got mine on. Yeah.
Hang on. I can't find the old...
Okay, he is struggling, isn't he? Yep, okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Bye. It says you can take your coat off now.
Man. Do you know? Tired now, knackered now.
Right, yeah, he says thank you everyone for watching. And Fox, keep your coat on in future.
I don't know.
Blaylock
says, how does one text on that phone with your voice?
Well, what it was, I thought I was getting the new iPhone 10. Sent that.
No, just take off the I and the 10 bit and just his phone.
Yeah.
And new was a bad assumption as well.
Yes, yeah.
You'll get a works phone, says Pete.
Yeah,
brilliant, says Ted.
We'll send you a works phone. Yeah, we'll direct link it to eModels. We'll pay the bill. I can't phone out on it. And I only get reverse charge calls in.
Well, he actually took all the numbers off the dial, so Ted doesn't know how to dial the number anyway. He's like, I don't know where 3 is. What?
Yeah, and I can't get it. I can't get the eModels website on it either. Right.
Smooth says, hello, Ted's with 853. Can I help you?
It's got a nice phone, nice ring. You can hear it throughout the house. Right. What else? Do we need to do anything else tonight? I think we've done everything.
I don't know. We've not had official word for a giveaway, have we? We didn't mention official. Tony Black mentioned trim phones.
Trim phones. Oh yeah. I used to be able to do the. No, I can't do it now.
Go on, Ted. You got to try it now.
I was going to try. No,
you got to do it. We used to have a trim phone. Trim phones are all. I want a trim phone.
You have to get a trim phone.
Yeah. I could get the trim phone. I remember the little blob at the end, the little sticky up nub. Go on, try it, Ted. Go on, try it.
No, I can't. I can't even attempt to do it now. No.
For those that don't know, trim phones were one of the first phones that had like an electronic ring, and they had a very distinct sound that you used to be able to do by whistling, and I can't do it.
No.
Ted apparently can't do it anymore.
Net Ty says, Ted, have I had my haircut? No, it's just wind swept.
Yes. Rody says, do some weathering on that phone.
Yeah.
Bob Bobbington says, Maplin still sell them.
Yeah, you can still get used to this. This actually works on BT, the new phones.
Charmin Adrian says, Fox, open a window. Trust me, there's like 100-mile-an-hour gale out there. If I open the window, half the garden will come in this room. I can't open the window. You won't hear me because it's like... So that's why I can't open the window.
Phil Lewis says, it's always aware when somebody's watching. Yeah, as soon as you've all gone, I can do the trim phone.
Yeah. As soon as this finishes, like, kind of... I can't do it now. I can't
even start to do it.
I can't do it.
Right. I think on that note, we should go away and practice our trim phone impressions.
Yes.
TK said,
you're going to keep trying it just without thinking out, and you'll be like, like 2 o'clock in the morning, Mrs. Ted will be there going, what are you doing? Go back to sleep.
No, I can't do it. TK said to recognise the plants that come through the window.
That's true. Yeah, give me the Latin names and everything.
Give me the Latin names, yeah. Right, at 11:15, I think it's time to call it a night. Am I still in focus?
Actually, you've been in focus for most of tonight. Although I've got you really small on my screen, so you could just be really small and out of focus. I can't tell.
Out of focus, yeah. Right. I think we've done everything now. Covered everything. We give that away.
Net Ty says, "Don't give up your day job."
Right. I think it's time to say goodbye and thank you everybody for joining us this evening. Really kept us busy tonight with lots of questions. It was like last week.
Lots of it.
I had to go for a lie down.
Questions.
Yeah, I had to go for a lie down last week after all them questions. Really kept us on the ball.
By lie down, he means gin and tonic.
Yeah. I do apologise if we missed anybody's questions, but ask them again next week. Send them in to ted@emodels.co.uk and there's more of a chance of getting them not missed.
Yeah. Remember, of course, if you've been tempted by any of the kits we've shown tonight, we've learned that when we show things on the stream, they tend to sell out within by the end of the stream. So if any of those kits tickled your fancy, do go and grab one now because it might not be in stock by the time you get there. So yeah, they tend to move once we feature them. We sold the Dora within 2 days of showing it on the stream. Yeah. So
Shaman Harrison said there's no wind down there, and
that's because we've got all wind up here up north.
Yeah, Scott Michaels said it's the first time watching this show. Well, glad you enjoyed it. Come along again next time.
Yes.
There's always something giveaway or something going on, or
we're always giving something away.
Yeah, we
usually
don't plan anything, as you could probably tell from your first view. We don't plan anything. We don't have anything scripted. We just make it up and ram it as we go along.
Yeah,
right.
I always find that when we finish the stream, I have loads of tidying up to do because of all the stuff I've brought in to show off of the stream.
Right. So keep an eye out for Fox and I's videos that will be coming up on stream. I know Fox has been really busy this week and he's put quite a few up.
Yep. Part 8 of the Eagle Bill went up on Saturday or Friday, so that's up on the eModels YouTube channel now.
Yeah.
Since I did that, I've been doing the decals and I haven't finished them yet. So I've not started part 9 yet because that'll be the weathering and stuff like that. So as soon as I've got the decals and stuff finished, I'll start filming part 9. So hopefully by the end of this week. But don't hold me to that because it won't be at all by the end of this week.
And I've been on with the Uboat and I've been making an eMopen University video as well. I've been making an eMopen University.
Is that the wind there, Ted? Was that the wind or are you dropping something?
No, that was the wind.
Was that model making chicken racks bouncing off the walls?
I think the cat's just let go of the wall now.
His scratch mark going like that along the wall.
Yeah, so that's it. Keep up with us on eModels Facebook, eModels YouTube site, and eModels website.
On Facebook, by the way, it's eModels Ltd.
Yeah,
there's a few eModels on Facebook, and most of them are actually about models, as in photographic lady models. So you don't want to look at those. eModels Ltd.
Yeah, if you want flesh tones, go to eModels.
Yeah, but if you want decent models, go to eModels Ltd.
Right, thank you very much everybody. Thank you for joining us. Send us any questions for next week. I don't know what we usually try and pick a theme for what's in store. I don't know where it'll be next week. If you've got any
chocolate, that's a theme.
Chocolate.
I don't know. We'll figure something out 10 minutes before the stream.
Send us some ideas if you have a thought about what you want to see, and we'll see you all again next week. But thank you for joining us.
For viewers in Ire and Northern Ireland, be safe with all the wind and stuff.
Yeah, and in the UK as well, it's going to get really windy as it's.
We'll be all right. We'll get a bit of wind. It's Ireland and Northern Ireland.
I saw it somewhere where in America they sort of board the windows up, dig shelters, get down and sort of get the supplies in and hide from the storm. In England, we just bring the washing in.
Yeah, well, we got some pot plants and put them in a corner so they didn't blow around. We brought the pot plant with the sweet corn growing in it.
Yeah. Michael Jackson says ships for next week. We might do that. Yeah,
that's an idea.
Yeah, we haven't done ships. Right.
Bob says rockets.
Yeah.
Smooth says emo pools.
Right, everybody. Good night to you all. Good night. And I'll go make a call and apologise for him not wearing his jacket. All right. Good night, everybody.